Okay, now to the mysterious U.S. Air Force flight to Moscow earlier today. We now know that the plane carried CIA Director John Ratcliffe for talks in the Russian capital. This is Ratcliffe's first trip to Moscow since becoming CIA Director. A source familiar with the trip would not say who Ratcliffe actually met with or why. It's now the third trip we know of that Ratcliffe has made to a country considered an adversary. In May, he traveled to Cuba as the U.S. enacted heavy economic sanctions on that country. He also visited Venezuela after the seizure of Nicolas Maduro in the raid back in January. And there's the video of his Air Force C-130 flying into Moscow today. Flight tracking data shows the plane took off from Joint Base Andrews in Maryland on Sunday, then briefly landed in Riga, Latvia, before flying on to Moscow at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The Kremlin says it has no information about that aircraft. NBC's Dan DeLuce joins us now. That's hard to believe, but nonetheless, Dan, based on Ratcliffe's roles in Venezuela and Cuba, what kind of conversations might he be engaged in there in Moscow?
You know, Tom, when the CIA director goes on a visit like this to an adversary's capital, it's usually about, delivering a pretty serious message, a warning perhaps. And of course, Ratcliffe is considered to be one of the more trusted people on the president's team. And you mentioned those last visits he made to Venezuela. It was very much kind of sending a message that the U.S. was ready to work with that new interim president after the U.S. military captured the previous president, Maduro, and brought him here to trial. And then when he went to Cuba more recently, it was clearly a stern warning to that regime to either make drastic changes or there would be even more severe pressure. In this case, what's interesting, Tom, is we haven't heard really a lot about Russia and the war in Ukraine much from this president in recent months, right? The whole focus from this White House has been on the war in Iran and all the difficulties that they're facing with that. Yeah. And so what's interesting is, is this about Russia's role and relationship with Iran?
And so if that is, in fact, the case, this visit comes after the Trump administration vowed to tighten these sanctions against Iran, including countries that do business with Iran. And we know that Iran and Russia have been close. Is this, do you think, possibly a warning to Russia to stop trading with Iran?
That's a distinct possibility. Some kind of a conversation, perhaps, where there are carrots and sticks. And the U.S. is saying to Russia, if you stop trading with Iran, perhaps there's some things that we can offer the Russians, perhaps more temporary lifting of some sanctions on Russia. What's really interesting, though, is that you have these two wars now converging, Tom, right? So you have Russia providing intelligence and military assistance to Iran. And, of course, Iran helped Russia at the beginning of its war against Ukraine, providing them with all sorts of Shahid drones that have been so deadly. One thing to keep in mind here is that Russia and Iran have an interest in trading and doing business, and they're both out to evade sanctions.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about the China equation. Dan DeLuce, thank you very much.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.